Alright, so I'm gonna make a video on market profile slash TPO because I think it's one of the most important tools for me for finding levels and just reading the auction. And a lot of people have DM'd me on X asking for help with reading the auction. They've watched videos and it's still not clicking. So maybe this can help you out. So yeah, let's start. I made a little slideshow so I could just clearly and straightforward show you all the concepts. So what makes a market profile a TPO? A market profile, often visualized using TPO, which is time price opportunity, and the reason it's called that you'll see in a sec, is a tool that organizes market data to show where trading occurred most frequently over a given period. It helps traders understand the distribution of price over time. Alright, so instead of using the volume over time and having a X and Y of volume and time, it has an X and Y of price and time, where we were compared to what time it was. And if there's more time spent, if we're at 60s and we've spent most time there, obviously there's going to be more periods there. So the key points are the TPO, what each letter is, which is set to time intervals. You can customize these, but standard is 30 minutes, and that's what pretty much everyone uses. Then the POC, which is a point of control, the price level with the most TPO letters slash periods, or in other words, where price spent the most time at. Value area, the range of prices where 70% of trading occurred. So, and then here we have val high and val low, the value area high or low, the upper and lower bounds of the value area. So here you can see the val high and the val low. In this zone inside that's highlighted is the value area. Alright, and this is essentially where we've had the most acceptance in a profile. And then we'll explain these ledges late in the next couple slides. So this is an old picture. I forgot where I found this, but this is very good to explain how value is calculated, right? So we have our price on the left, and then our time periods, and then a count of number of TPOs there. So you can see 1, 2, 4, 4. Then here we had 8, 9, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 7, 7, 7, 4. So these were the highest numbers, and our value area is placed around here. And you can see we had 110 total TPOs, and we had 77 inside the value area, so essentially 70%. Alright, so buying and selling tails. These are very good tools or reference points to use and to just know about. So a buying and selling tails are single or double prints at the edges of a market profile that indicate strong rejection of price levels. A buying tail appears at the bottom of the profile. It's a series of single TPOs, only 1 or 2 TPO letters slash periods per price level, showing that sellers pushed price down, but buyers stepped in aggressively and rejected lower prices, and essentially did that in a fast manner. Here we've spent a good amount of time there and didn't really end up rejecting, but at this high you can see we went there and then rejected. We didn't spend barely any time, right? And it's vice versa for the selling tails. Appears at the bottom of a profile. It shows the buyers push price up, but sellers quickly rejected the higher prices. These tails can be used as support or resistance levels, or just simple context, right? So if you're watching a prior balance area and you see we made a tail inside that balance, rejecting it, whatever. Alright, so then we have poor highs slash lows. These aren't perfect. I think you should only use this as context or like a narrative or something to help, like, okay, maybe this is helping me lean on this side for bias. I don't think this is foolproof. A lot of the time we can leave these. So poor highs and lows in the market profile indicate a lack of strong rejection at the extremes, spotted when two or more TPOs printed at the high or low price level. Poor high formed when multiple TPO letters/periods occurred at the top, showing buyers weren't met with strong selling. This signals the upside auction may be incomplete and price could revisit higher levels. Try not to mistake this for an unfinished auction. It's just showing that we're weak at this area, right? Weaker than this clearly because we have a tail. Here we're weak. We're also pretty weak here because we only have one period. Poor highs and lows often act as magnets for future price test. These also can be used as simple context showing weakness or possible acceptance. All right, really simple. Nothing much after that. Now, single prints, I'm pretty sure this is the last one. Single prints in the market profile represents price levels touched during only one TPO period, indicating aggressive directional movements with little to no opposition. These often occur during trend moves and create thin areas in the profile, right? You can see here it's a very thin area. These can appear between value areas or as a part of a buying or selling tail. They suggest a lack of two-sided trade and may act as a support or resistance if revisited or something to fill. In short, single prints show where the market moved quickly and decisively, a sign of strong conviction. I was trying to slow down there. But yeah, that's market profile. Now I'm gonna just show you how I get my levels and you could say bias using this and analyzing this. Alright, so here we have my RTH TPO, which is just the cash hour, and not including overnight or Globex, whatever you want to call it. And this is including everything, right? So I'm gonna do this so we can actually see the periods and everything. But you can split the profile, which essentially does this, and you can see kind of like a 15-minute chart or 30-minute chart where price went, and it helps when marking levels because you can use support and resistance, and it helps a lot. Also, I suggest you have some sort of VPs to kind of analyze the auction a little more. So let's read this. Let's just read it starting from here, right? Or I could just start marking levels. I think I'll just do that, yeah. So let's delete these levels. I'll keep this level because it's pretty standard, right? So I'll explain this level really quick. So one, I like to split the columns in the profiles to see where we had support or resistance. So here we can see we were in this auction. We kept rejecting these highs, making tails. Then we came lower, started rejecting this, and then we broke. But we kept rejecting this top extreme. Then we had a little push above, still kept holding the support, a little push under, and then one more push, and this kind of really weird price action there. And then we finally broke out. We came back, we tested the same area, broke out, really standard support and resistance. Now, if you look at it with the profiles, you can see this level is all above the val high, and you want to keep it like that. Now, the way I would first of all get my levels, so here we can see we've had some sort of a tail. All right, so that's our first reference. Like, we've just had a big move up, our first sign of sellers, not here. This is pretty poor, this is poor, this is our first sign. This profile comes in and we want to adjust our level so we don't include the val high, right? Try to really get the extremes here. This comes along and we push a little higher, we end up closing there. So I'd adjust this probably something like this. Yeah, I'd try to keep the high in it. It's really discretion. It's not always just a buying tail or selling tail, boom, that's your level. It's never like that. I'll just talk about this top one. This bottom one's worse of an example. Then this day we had this, so I'd expand it again and I'd keep it right there, that little small print. And then this day tapped into it again. Here we missed it a little bit, but I'd adjust this a little for future reference. Here we tapped it, so that's pretty good. Always adjusting these levels before market. And yeah, and then we started to auction higher, right? And now we're down here, we just tapped into the level again. So now something I'd do to adjust this is try to do that. Yeah, I'd adjust it like that. So that's a level I'm actively looking at. Now we've just had this auction right here. Now let's get a level or two from this. I like to use RTH on this, but I'm not gonna lie, it's a pretty weird profile because we have this extreme and then we have this extreme and then we kind of have this like 45-degree build, pretty shit, no extreme there. So I don't think I'm gonna use a level from up here. I think we'd run through this if we accepted higher. I don't think I'd try to short that. But we do have this. I think what I'm thinking right now is we could start to build or accept more into this area and create and build more of an LVN here where we had support and resistance in this point of control. So that's kind of my idea. And now I'll walk you through how I get my level. So first off, I want to line up some extremes. So I get my little tool, I line up all of this, a huge level, right? You can see here, it's the same, right? So we have this point of control in it, this excess, buying tail, whatever, this buying tail, val low here, point of control lines up there, val high right here. So first I'd adjust it a little bit right here to kind of line up with this val high, point of controls and all of that. And this is what a lot of people actually do. They align levels, like single levels, like val highs, val lows, point of controls, and they also line them up with support and resistance. So here you can see we've had a tap multiple times, and this bottom part really isn't necessary. We can see we haven't had much resistance until up to here. We've had some resistance, kind of chopped, bounce, 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 right? And then if you look here, same thing. And yeah, I'd use this level. So that's your first level, kind of at this extreme, so pretty good level. Another level I would use, let's do an example using the RTH. We can see we've had some rejection of these highs, right? And then we broke, and then we had a support, and then we had some more support, looks like some rejection. So really just a lot of price action. So I'd do a line like this, and then I'd refine it. So try to keep in as much taps as possible, something like that. Yeah, I'd use something like that, and you can see how it lines up with the volume profile. Another good level that I'd use. So here we have two levels. Not really looking at any levels for longs other than this main main zone down here. And then let me just do something. It's pretty annoying. Yeah, I don't really have much more levels after that, because if we accept higher, I'd just be looking to play through here, but you can see how I used a combination of support and resistance, really just trying to look for where we've had the most rejections. This level, not too good, but I'm sure this level will play well. No crazy LVNs, I will say. Something I like to look for is LVNs, but just by looking at this profile, it seems we're in the middle of one right now. And we don't really have another one. We have these two extremes and these two, and this would be an LVN, but we're in the middle of it. We tested this, we're smack in the middle. So I want to see acceptance of one of these, and then look to play the other level. So if we accept here, I'd look to play this. If we accept here, I'd look to play that, or like bid through and then play another tap. But that's essentially how I look at it. I don't think there's any examples of like single prints in this. Let me see. I mean, here there is an example of a buying tail right here. It's pretty nice, but we've included that in the level, and we've included a little more simply because the past has shown it was a good level. So yeah, that's how I derive levels. There's no unfinished auctions. It's been pretty strict, and a lot of large size has been thrown around through here, especially with all that news and everything. So there's no poor highs or lows, but yeah, that's how I find my levels most of the time, or how I get reference points or read the auction, right? Because here it's really simple to read the auction. Okay, we've started at this extreme. We broke easily. We came back in. You'd be looking along this. You probably get stopped if you're not using some hardcore order flow. You'd probably get stopped. But yeah, you can see we've broken that and built value under that. So really, I'm mainly going to be trying to short this and this. But here you can see we've started to build value areas kind of in the same zone, and the tops of these profiles kind of align, and that's a level. So yeah, that's how I read the auction or the market profile. Pretty simple, and yeah.